Let's get let's talk.
Let's just get into it.
Let's get into it.
um,
Uh,
so I really wanted to have you on because you obviously love anime,
I
and
do.
you do.
I
One of
do.
the questions I've been really really trying to answer myself is
Hmm.
why do people who love the anime of any show
Hmm.
go from the anime, but then more often than not, they don't go to the manga?
Well, they have no excuse right now. No, they don't. Well, it's just a matter of a lot of things that factors into it. Well, first things first. I mean, everyone loves animation. I mean, visual wise, they like to see it in action. Like when you read from the manga, you picture it yourself, like how it plays out, like each scene, each page, and so forth. And then the music. That's the thing about it. The music what really makes it, more watchable than reading a manga. But unfortunately, the anime doesn't really give much in detail of what the manga wants it to be. They always cut a lot of information from the manga and then leaves it off to the side for the anime, unfortunately. And maybe because people don't like reading.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah.
One factor is like some people just the way they're wired, they like just can't sit down and read a book. Some
Yeah.
people a lot of people who want to read books, they can't like read the book. They have to like listen to it on audio. And I
Hmm.
guess that's one factor is like the people who just like can't read the manga, like they have to watch it anime. And I totally get
Yeah.
that. I for the longest time was anime only.
Hmm.
I started Dragon Ball Z, then I like branched into the big three, but I
Hmm.
never read manga. Um, I read a little bit of manga later, but like never really got into any big series. But then um, recently I got into the One Piece manga,
Hmm.
and from there, I think now it's a lot easier, whereas before it was a lot harder to get your hands on manga without. There's also the conversation of like pirating versus like legally. Um,
Yeah.
it was a lot harder to get it legally because like, especially if you're like not in Japan, like you have to
Hmm.
wait for the translations, whereas like now you can just get it right on your phone.
Yeah, which that really makes it a lot easier for like Shonen Jump or Viz Media that they all doing it digitally because back then before all this came about of digital manga is that they have to wait for the licensing, then they have to wait for the rights to translate and then the rights to sell it to distribute to stores. And even then sometimes there'll be an oopsies within the production and so forth. I mean, and while long times and so forth. Yeah, it's easier right now just to buy it off on your mobile app and then you could just read it on your phone. It's really is convenient,
Mm.
right? These nowadays.
Yeah, it's specifically Shonen Jump has made it like stupid easy to
Oh yeah.
read the manga because you can do it like from your desktop or your phone. Whereas like I wanted to read Titan recently, and they don't have, at least as far as I can find, they don't have any sort of like subscription service. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm not gonna pay to use some third party to
Mm-hmm.
read something that I'm just gonna buy physically anyway. So I'm just gonna go buy it physically. But like I just happen to have the money for it. Whereas like if Attack on Titan is something like 30 volumes, and I only
Oh
bought
yeah.
29 volumes. Like not everyone can just like on the spot like buy 30 something volumes. Like
Yeah.
Shonen Jump makes it like stupid easy.
Oh yeah. I would imagine you just going to your local bookstore just now and get like 29 volumes of Attack on Titan and then the cashier be like, God damn, this guy was buying a bunch of books.
Oh, it's hilarious. And the funny thing was they had Roundabout from JoJo playing, and this kid was like,
Oh.
"Oh, they're playing the To Be Continued song." Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's always so disappointing though, and it's
Mm-hmm.
weird to say that because I obviously have not been like a manga reader for the longest time, but now
Yeah.
that I do, and now that like I collect manga,
Hmm.
it's disappointing in the sense that like you miss out on that like holistic appreciation for like just the story in general. So
Yeah.
like uh I guess a big example is My Hero. My Hero is constantly getting bombarded with
Oh yeah.
criticism, and I do big air quotes because
Yeah.
recently today the criticism was like one shot was bad, and like I get it. It's a number of weird things where like you have Studio Bones, one of the better studios out there. You have higher
Oh yeah.
expectations. You had the fact that this was supposed to be like the best season yet. It was one of the most hyped up arcs in the manga,
Oh yeah.
before like all the current ones like My Villain and all that.
Yeah.
And then like continuously, all the really only big disappointment was the Mirio fight, Mirio versus Overhaul, where like the animation wasn't that great,
Yeah.
and it was just like these like PowerPoint type shots, and you were
Hmm.
just like, what? But there was a shot today of the Pussycats, and like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and everyone was like, oh, it doesn't look like the manga, it's trash, and it's like,
I saw it's all over Twitter. Jesus Christ.
yeah,
Oh, the thing is, in animation, I'm gonna defend on the anime itself. Like, there's a lot of work that has to be put onto each particular frames per second. And I agree. You know, Bones like Madhouse, Kyoto Animations, uh, JC Staff. I mean, they're really well known within the industry and well as in the anime community that they have high expectations. My Hero Academia is one of the examples that they get hella criticized for the smallest of little things that it could be easily be looked over in some way. Like that one shot of like of what you mentioned. It's like that's just a minor thing. This is like maybe what a centimeter apart of what the group formation is, and then there's the beautiful animations of the I think it's Me Hero or something like that. The performance song that like on the last episode that was gorgeous in animation, and even in the manga really captured it. Then there's the birthday scandal where they like, oh my god, the heroes and the villains have the same birthdays as these dictators. I'm like, how would they know? They
yeah, that I always found that to be like an asinine thing because look, I am not from any of those countries that would have felt like disparaged against. I get
yeah.
that. At the same time, the only issue I had with that whole thing with like the birthdays was like you kind of have to assume, like you have to like make a bad faith presumption in Horikoshi, which you're fine in doing that, but don't go on the next day about how much you love my hero if you're going to make an argument that relies on the like bad faith that he must be some sort of like Japanese imperialist Nazi whatever. It's like pick one or choose one. Don't like call the guy a criminal for clout one day and then talk about how much you love his work the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, again, as I said, I just don't get that, and it's the same thing with like another anime manga, which is the Rising of the Shield Hero. They talk shit about the whole story premise within the first episode, but they don't really realize that oh, the one who wrote the story, the mangaka, she's a female and she wrote that, and this is her story. A lot of things that people don't get is that the manga storyline is the same thing as the anime storyline. You have to it's their vision. You can't simply just change it just because you don't like it. Tokyo Ghoul is another example when fucking Kaneki slept with Toka and then got impregnated by got pregnant and have a baby. People had a fit over it because they want fucking Kaneki to be gay, which I'm like, it's the mangaka's respect. You have to respect the mangaka's decision of how they write the story. It's their story. They're sharing it to you, the reader. And if you have any offense of it, well, I'm sorry, but it is what it is in terms of how they write the story.
Yeah, and again, that's another reason I think it's better for people to watch the anime and read the manga because it gives you this like holistic perspective where you're not just basing everything off the anime. For example, I want to like stay on My Hero.
Uh-huh.
Um, the recent like episode that aired today, there's some bits where you see like the Todoroki family in the manga, but I'm pretty sure that it seems like that's going to get skipped over,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate because there's a lot of good characterization for Endeavor because like the guy is obviously a jerk. He did some like really mean stuff to his family,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very like complex approach that Horikoshi takes to addressing his character and his arc.
Yeah.
So for the studio to like skimp out and get that fight in at the very end of the season, and to do that by cutting something out like that, they also did something with Bakugo when they were doing
Oh
the
yeah.
with the they were doing the extra classes, and there was like one little line where he said something to Todoroki, and then Todoroki said something like, "Oh, it's really not okay to beat your kids." And in the manga, he like thought about it for a second. He was like, "Oh, that's right. Todoroki used to get beat as a kid." But then in the anime, you just don't see it. So
Yeah.
it's like little things like that where if you're just seeing that, you get a totally different perspective than if you read the manga and then you watch the anime and you're like, eh. Um, yeah, I think people would be better off if they did both.
Yeah, because the thing is with the production, like the steps of what they have to do in an episode of an anime, unfortunately, they get the source material. Let's just say Boku no Hero Academia. They get it from the source material, and then they have to get it to their own committee. They form the committee of Boku no Hero Academia, and then they have to take it to the director, and then they have to take it to the producer, then the screenwriter, then they have to go forth with the mangaka, and then they have to decide, okay, maybe we should keep this in the anime, or maybe we should just take that away from the anime, which is really one of those things that it's really hit and miss in terms of like what does go into the anime and what doesn't sometimes affects the whole general aspects of what information that the viewer has to take into. It'll be like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. And you read the manga, it's like, oh, why did they removed it? I don't know. It's really up to the community, which sometimes there's those really little detail that isn't really necessary, but they did it regardless. So I'm like, meh. They always do it a lot on Boku no Hero Academia. Good
Mm,
thing I read Boku no Hero Academia and a lot of manga to keep myself informed
mm.
of everything.
Yeah, I will say though, on the flip side, I love the fact that you have the manga and the anime because the anime for me, now that I like keep up with all the recent chapters,
Mm,
it's like a reward for reading the manga
yeah.
because if you like an anime only, it's great to just like keep up weekly. Like my routine used to be I would wake up Saturday and Sunday mornings and like that would be my like little ritual. I'd like have my bowl of cereal and I'd watch it and be like, and that's kind of what I do at manga now.
uh,
But anime to me now is like, okay, now I get to revisit those arcs that I was reading about like 2 3 months ago, and now I get to like kind of revisit them again, rethink about them, see, especially when you have a studio that takes brave artistic decisions and they like
mm,
play around with stuff because then that really gets conversations going. I think
yeah.
trying to think of a good example um, in JoJo Part 5 when they changed the timing of the Rolling Stone story.
Oh yeah.
That, if you want to talk about a conversation starter, to my knowledge,
Uh,
I don't think that's like a unanimously viewed position of like, was that a good choice or a bad choice? I could be wrong. It could be for the most part, people hate that that was done that way. I don't
yeah.
know. But things like that, it's rewarding for me to see manga adapted because then you get these opportunities to revisit the material and you also create like the opportunity for studios to like take the source material and go, okay, um, like Bleach is a great example. I'm excited for Bleach because the manga obviously had its flaws. So this is an
Yeah.
opportunity for the anime to maybe add Not like whole filler arcs, but like
Hmm.
little tiny bits and pieces in between episodes where they can like add the stuff that we wanted and never saw in the manga.
Oh yeah. Just can't wait for that, man. I mean, I'm still mad about how they did with Bleach. A lot of fillers and really didn't even finish the dub. Yeah, they did. They need to finish the dub. To be honest, they need to finish it. Come
Yeah,
on.
it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Bleach got a dirty deal. It's
Um.
unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, let's hope this revival will make it better, and then the Burn the Witch one shot. I hope that I'm hyped for that.
Did you read the one shot manga already?
Oh yes, I actually liked it.
Yeah,
Like
it it's strange to read.
the one shots. Or
Yeah, the one shot manga, like it's so strange because it opens up like a huge door of opportunities.
oh yeah, like if you do it right, and that's really gonna make the story further. That makes it more interesting.
Mhm.
Death Note, it had a one shot with Donald Trump in it. I know that.
Yeah, that was bizarre to see. I
That
remember seeing
was.
that on Twitter. I was like, huh.
It was. It's an interesting story,
Mm.
but it was a lot of bullshit at the end. That's all I could say.
Ah, okay, okay. I know that created a lot of conversation because then people were like comparing the two protagonists and
Yeah,
which one was better, which one was smarter.
Light's better. That's all I could say.
You heard it here,
He
folks.
created a game. Yeah, he
You heard.
created a game. So
All right, fair enough.
yeah.
So I have some questions for you, highly
Okay.
requested from Twitter, highly requested. Um,
All right.
First question:
Uh-huh.
Are there any anime that you would say did it better than the manga?
Hmm. Let's see. Well, that's really tough because, um, well, first thing first, um, I would say High School of the Dead did it better in the anime because it really brings in visually, but unfortunately, it's not going to be finished because of what happened to the mangaka and him passed away. But I would love to see more further into like animation and so forth, and a lot of the shonen ones like Dragon Ball really is an anime that really expected higher than me on in the anime than in the manga, which I read the manga further into after Super finished, and then thirdly, I would say Shakugan no Shana, which it's one of those shows that probably not a lot of you have heard, but it's really something involves the highly you should read the manga. Anime did it kind of better, but third season was kind of iffy on terms of storyline. The pacing slow, but it's one of those things that, as you mentioned, Ouji, that it's rewarding as you read further into and watching the anime. It's like rewards you to get into like where you set off in the anime, and then where you read on a specific chapter in the manga. Well, what about you? What you believed? Which anime was better than the manga, or vice versa?
Um, Generally, I haven't read as much manga as I'd like to. I will say, uh, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna say Hunter x Hunter for two reasons.
Oh yes.
One, my first reason is because while I happen to like the art in Hunter x Hunter, not everyone likes Tagashi's art style.
Hmm.
The other reason is because, and I'll probably get blasted for this one, is
Oh, don't worry.
the beginning they decided to cut out um, his meeting with Kite and then save it for like later in Chimera. And I'm going to say that's better. Now, that's coming from someone who did not originally read the manga and just watched the anime.
Yeah.
I personally like that because people are going to say the exact opposite for the same reason.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I like it because it completely changes Gon's motivation. Whereas originally it was sort of like One Piece, where in One Piece, Luffy has the interaction with Shanks, and then a lot of the reason he goes to be a pirate is because he looks up to Shanks so much.
Yeah.
With Hunter x Hunter, in the manga, a lot of the reason is because he meets Kite, and then he looks up to Kite, so he wants to go be a hunter, not just like Jing, but also like Kite. Whereas when you cut out Kite and you make that interaction less of a start off for Gon, it really speaks to Gon's strong individualism as a reflection of Jing. So, like I was saying earlier, just a choice like that really changes the character and makes this opportunity for great conversation.
Yeah. But God bless the moniker of Hunter x Hunter. He's always sick, and then he always had to be in a hiatus, and then he comes back and he writes, like maybe a little bit of volumes, and then he gets sick again, and then hiatus. I mean, God bless the man. I mean, that
I know.
guy has been taking a lot of breaks because of his health, and he needs to recover. To be honest, he should have just taken like a indefinite hiatus just for him to be better, and then come back and then be like healthier and so forth. But
Yeah,
I
it's
I
unfortunate.
respect his work. I respect his works. Seriously.
So I'm going to flip the question now.
Uh-huh.
Are there any um, manga that you would say are better than the anime?
Naruto. Okay. No, because here's the thing. I like the animation of Naruto. Don't get me wrong. The story wise, where to be consistent with story, it's better in the manga because Naruto, even Shippuden, to be quite frank on honesty, is that it is a lot of fillers, which really takes away a lot of the story, a lot of anticipation, and that it really kind of confuses us. And then even Full Metal Alchemist, with the manga was better than the '03 Full Metal Alchemist, which there was a lot of fillers, a lot of things didn't make sense. And then when they did Brotherhood, that one was better than the manga itself. So it's because it was really respectful to the source material. Um, and yeah, that's about it when it comes to manga being better than the anime. Oh, and even there's another question which I'll answer, which I believe it shouldn't have been to adapted in the first place for many reasons. Uh, well, what about you? Well, I know you haven't read manga, but what do you believe? Which one do you believe that, based on what you've read and what you watched, which one you believed was better, the manga or the anime on Boku no Hero Academia?
Um, I'd probably I'd probably have to go with My Hero for the manga just because Horikoshi puts so much work and so much energy into that story, and you see it when he does all the the side notes, when you get to see all the notes about the characters, all the random character designs of them in different outfits, all the little backgrounds of them uh, in the manga when it's Christmas, you see all these little tiny interactions that have no impact on the main plot, but
Mm-hmm.
make the characters that much better. And sometimes they get skipped over in the anime. I will say
Yeah.
though, another one that I would probably say the manga is better is Doctor Stone because,
Oh,
as we talked earlier, I'm a big Doctor Stone
yes.
fan.
Yes, you did mention that to me.
Um, I like the anime. I really like the voice acting. I thought it was really good looking. The animation, it was just meh. It wasn't horrible, but it was nothing great, which
Oh.
is unfortunate because there are a lot of big fights coming up in season two. So,
Oh.
mhm. So if you remember, they had the little tournament in season one, and the
Yeah.
animation was just like a little slideshow, a little slideshow, a little they were like little PowerPoints, like Mario and Overhaul. So it's like if you have those meh
Uh,
animation sequences in these big important fights, it's not going to hurt it, but it's not
uh,
going to elevate it. Like a perfect example is Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer,
yeah.
the anime is great, but because the animation is so great, all of a sudden the manga blew up. just because of the hype from the anime.
It did. My brother bought every volume of it. Jesus.
I know.
I'm like, Jacob, stop it.
And the ironic thing is, a lot of people don't even like the art style in the manga. They just bought the manga because they like the anime.
Yeah. If you make a good anime, your book sales will go skyrocket. I mean,
Mm.
take example like again, there's Demon Slayer, there's fucking Fruit Baskets, there's even Love is War. Just skyrockets the hell out of it. Especially season 2 is coming up, which by the way, I talked to a conversation with Katie that well, as I last checked after the recording, it just skyrocketed to like millions of book sales, I believed, if I read that correctly. But it was a lot of sales
I would
ever since
imagine,
the
yeah.
anime came out.
Yeah, I even thought about checking out the manga after I watched that first season. I was like,
Yeah.
like anime like that, where it's just like down to earth and like there's like the threat of the universe isn't at stake, and it's not like the front cover of Shonen Jump. I'm just like, I'll just wait till the anime.
Yeah.
Um, that was fun to watch what you guys did because you guys talked about Kaguya and Chika, and she even brought up my Chika opinion, and I was like, you're damn right.
Oh yeah, but I love Kaguya better. I'm sorry, man.
Kaguya's a great character, but she's not Chika. That's just my take.
Why? Because she didn't get her own dance ending.
You
She
know,
didn't get
that
her
could
own
be it.
little dance.
So my last question, and I think
Oh,
we kind of already answered it, but we'll
yeah,
ask it away because it was highly, highly requested on Twitter.
yeah.
Are there any manga, in your opinion, that should not ever, or if they already did, should never have received an anime adaptation?
Pupa.
Okay.
Uh, okay. Maybe you don't know if there's anime. Let me get you up to speed. So headphones off. Okay, so Pupa is a manga. It's a kind of a mystery anime where we have two siblings that live with in a very violent environment because they have an abusive father and so forth. So the older brother, has to take care of the younger sister, and what happened is that the younger sister gets infected by a virus, well, kind of like a metamorphosis where she turned into a monster and then she ends up devouring humans. And the only way that they could able to stabilize her is having her brother to um to be eaten by her sister, which he regenerates, and to keep her like insane, like sane. It's the thing is, story wise, I mean, there is a lot of incest going around, like a little taboo in the manga, but I just like the mystery aspects further into of the anime, like discovering like, oh, what's this a virus about and so forth. But in the anime, oh my god, horrible animation, horrible storytelling, doesn't make sense on a lot of aspects. We're moving a lot of major point details, and then the last episode didn't make sense whatsoever. That it should even be made. So that's how much I hated the anime of Pupa. The manga was better than the anime, like hands down. Um, but what would you think? Like, if there's a manga that you've read, I mean, what would you say that it even shouldn't even been turned into an anime in the first place? Like, what anime you think is like, oh, that should even be an anime? For you, Soji. I mean,
Well,
OG. What was OG? What the hell?
eh, um, I kind of already gave my take, which is there should more like 99% of the time just always have an anime. It's good to get an adaptation. It's good just to see it animated. It's good to like have people who don't normally read see the story in a format that they can actually enjoy. However, one anime that I wasn't particularly thrilled with after 3 seasons is Overlord. Have you seen that?
Oh no.
So I like
No,
oh,
no, I'm saying like I watched over it. I'm like, no, but do tell me why.
I just think it starts out strong,
Uh huh.
but by the time of season 3, it's just like it's just a season of fan service. Not that like any of the characters are bad necessarily, but like
Uh-huh.
by season 3, I'm just like, what are we even doing? Like they introduce like all these like political games and all that, but like 3 seasons in, like you still don't even know if there's other like in real life players, and it just feels like they're just messing around. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean, look, I mean, Overlord, hands down, I like. It's like one of my favorite MMO isekai kind of shows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the manga, like I loved reading the manga because there's a lot of things that they took out from in the anime that they didn't put from the manga, which I read both of them. The thing is, with Overlord, I don't know, I just dumbfounded that a lot of people just don't get like, oh my god, like in third season they're like, wait a minute, Ainz is a villain? I'm like, how would you not see this in the first season? They introduce him as to be a villain. He's the bad guy. He's not a good guy. Yeah, he did some good deeds here and then, but he's a villain. He
Mm-hmm.
has a group of villains with him within his cabinet. So it just really shocked me when people was like, I thought he was a good guy. How is he a villain? I'm like, first episode, he's a villain. Even Isekai Quartet, which is more in a comedy aspects, he's still a villain. So it's I don't know. It's just one of those things. I mean, yeah, I understand where you're coming from with third season. I mean, there was a lot of political in there, and there's a lot of non-information in there. That we were like, what is this? But it's more or less of like learning about the Eyes on Ghoul and all that stuff. Like, kind of confirming to the viewers, yeah, he's a villain, even though that they should have guessed it by season 1,
Mm.
within episode 6 specifically.
I like what you bring up though, is like the idea that Ainz is a villain, because the show does do a good job of illustrating that. There's the one big battle where he makes like the big sacrifice to summon those like really big, tall, like four-legged demons, whatever they were.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't even like a contest. He just totally obliterated everyone else.
Mm.
And there was also the like ridiculous battle with all those lizard people.
Oh yeah.
I will say it was hilarious. Like the night before that fight, when like the main lizard person
Mm.
thought he was gonna die, and like him and like the one lizard girl were like, "Well, if we're both gonna die."
Oh no, you're going to. Oh my.
I'm not gonna get into that, but I just thought that was funny because then they
Oh.
look in on it and they're like, don't look at that. That's okay. We don't. That's enough spying for one stakeout. We're good. But you do bring up a good point. They do go to a good
Yeah.
length of like making Ainz a villain. I just thought by the third season, I like wanted to know like some of the mystery about why he was stuck in the game and like if there were other players. And by season 3, like we're still like messing around.
Yeah, which I hope for fourth season. Maybe they'll clarify more on that. But the lizard people, my god, that's like I don't know. Everything else that I remembered of the anime and then reading the manga, that particular scene with the lizard, with those two lizard people, I'm like, I don't know. That's like fucking iconic.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I'm like, why would you think in a scenario like this?
Oh,
But
I thought it made
it's
perfect
memorable.
sense. Oh, it's hilarious.
It made perfect sense. It does, but I'm like, why?
I thought
No.
it was awesome. So that's all the questions I have for you. Do you have any last questions before we close this?
Okay. My last question for you. From Hunter Hunter, from Boku no Hero Academia, Doctor Stone. Does the anime of those three in question, do they take away some of the essence of the original source material? Do those anime take away some of the information? Like, do they take away what the source material tries to portray?
Um, I already talked about. I can't really speak to Hunter x Hunter that well because I really only read everything after the anime.
Mm,
Um, I already spoke to My Hero a lot. Um, Doctor Stone, not really. They don't really cut too much in Doctor Stone. I will say, I'll address this more in One Piece. One Piece,
yeah.
to my knowledge, I really hope I'm not wrong on this. It hasn't really cut anything.
Mm,
The one thing, and this is just personal preference, the one thing I think you miss when you don't read the manga is just the mangaka's like not in not like original design. Like you don't get the feeling of reading the manga and like seeing the character designs. And I bring up One Piece
mm,
because Oda has such a unique art style that is very hard to imitate. You don't see anyone else draw like Oda. Maybe like old school One Piece where it looked a lot like more like 90s anime, whereas
yeah.
now it's very cartoony. Even if you go on Twitter, like there are plenty of people who draw like Dragon Ball Z. There are some people who draw like My Hero. You don't see a ton of artists on Twitter that draw like One Piece. And in my opinion, at least, it's because the art style is so special and
Yeah.
because Oda has such a like talent and he puts so much thought into designing his characters. So I think that's something you miss from watching the anime. Now, on the flip side, the anime does crush it with the big fights, but especially when you get like these like guest animators or like you're always changing animators, sometimes like the animation is so deviated from like the
Yeah.
Oda style. So I other than that, like I've been saying, I think you need to watch the anime and read the manga so you can get like a holistic appreciation.
Yeah, which I get for why people don't read the manga, because either that they just don't want to read it, or they want to willing to wait a week for the next episode, or that they believe that they already know as it is based on the episode. Like, oh, I kind of get it, I know the information, but you really don't, because in the manga it might surprise you. There might be some information that maybe you have a question that the anime doesn't give, that you read the manga, you're like, oh, I get it now. That's
Mm-hmm.
why they did it, or that's why they had to do that, or oh, that's why this person is, this particular person. It's like that. That's a thing. The big wow factor for those that uh, watches an anime and doesn't understand, but when you read the manga in more context, then you're like sinks it in and be like, yeah, now I get it. Oh, I didn't get that before. Serial Experiments Lane, which have you seen that anime, by the way?
I have not.
Well, do watch it more than once, because it is the clusterfuck of watching an anime, and then you don't understand it, and then you have to watch it a second time, you don't understand it. The third time you have to watch it, then you sink it in and be like, oh, so that's why they had to do it, because that's the purpose of the anime, to help the viewers understand the small details, the backgrounds, what's happening in the background, or even the subtle hints that it's trying to show. Be like, you have to get this into your brain. There's a lot of things that the current, anime and manga don't really get, is those subtle hints and this in the background, what's happening in the background, that makes you understand the information that you're trying to grasp. But I mean, that's just me, because I've been watching anime for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, even One Piece, which thank God I watched it long ago, but disgracefully watched it on the 4Kids era.
Oh,
But hey, the pirate rap is still lit. But aside from that, it's just One Piece itself is iconic. As you mentioned, the art style of the manga cannot be duplicated. There's specific manga, like even Akiyama for Dragon Ball. You can't duplicate that drawing, that sketching. Even High School of the Dead, you can't duplicate that. Demon Slayer, you can't duplicate that. Specific mangakas, you can't duplicate. And
Mm-hmm.
even Oda and Akiyama are the two main big mangakas that still holds a lot of power within the anime industry
Mm-hmm.
as two iconic mangakas for two iconic shonen anime. Well known.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think this was a really good talk.
Oh yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say to close?
Well, do check out Shonen Ouji. You know, if you really want to watch some anime with a lot of depths in manga, as well as if you really want to see more discussions, comment below, give this video a like, because the man here has done a very good job and he does his homework. You know, that's a lot of YouTubers don't really do is do them much homework. So it really means a lot, and I think you're really close to a milestone. So please subscribe to him and help him reach that milestone. Seriously, he's really an awesome guy, and I'm really humbled and honored for me to talk with him and have a discussion with him in this video.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to talk with you, John. You were so easy to talk to, and I remember you made my day when you did that video,
Oh,
when you reached out to me. So it
yeah,
was very lucky of you, very lucky of me for you to reach out like that.
yeah,
And it was a pleasure talking like this. Guys, like he said, make sure you comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. Help me get to 100 subscribers. We're 5 subscribers away. Other than
yes.
that, we both hope to hear from you soon.